Yo my people, I'm back again with another video. You done know the thing go. Boom. Now hear this. I'm hearing say man like QCP is a snitch, and he's been snitching for the longest. There's also been rumors about Lil Baby snitching back in the days when he was in Atlanta. There's also rumors of Rollo snitching. Now Rollo's one of the biggest street dudes from Atlanta. He's known for renting a whole buying a whole complex, a whole estate kind of thing in it, and putting his people in it to shop food. Now Rollo has recently had paperwork dropped against him. Somebody please tell me what is going on. The snitching thing is becoming a pandemic. I don't know what is going on, and it seems like the more money you got, it's cool for you to snitch. You get me? It's cool that such and such just snitch. He's got money. It's alright. You get me? Fuck that. Once a snitch, always a snitch. From your snitch, you're a snitch. I'm gonna run into this clip now, innit? Let me know what you lot think of it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, and I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're gonna be speaking on P from the QC music label, the CEO of the music label, snitching on a man and getting him a 20-year prison sentence. May 27th, 2010. It was 8:45 p.m. when an off-duty officer working at the Lenox Mall in Atlanta advised over the radio he was with a man who stated a black man named Keon was leaving the mall in a brown tinted four-door, and that Keon was wanted for murder. Two additional officers responded to the area, locating a brown Oldsmobile matching the description given. The vehicle was pulled over with two men and a woman inside, with the front passenger being identified as Interior's Keon McClinton, who officers confirmed had a murder warrant out of Fulton County. An investigator arrived at the mall where the call originated and met with Pierre Thomas, who's more commonly known as P, the CEO of Quality Control Music. P stated to the investigator he was at the mall when he recognized the man he knew as Keon. P told the investigator Keon was the same man who previously shot him and killed his friend, which led to the warrant for murder. P would continue by telling the investigator he confronted Keon, even chasing him to his vehicle where Keon grabbed a handgun. That's when P would run for the mall as Keon chased behind him saying, "I'm gonna kill you." P would state he was in fear for his life, hid in the mall, and came back out to see Keon was leaving the area. He would also provide a written statement. According to the written statement, Pierre listed himself as a victim or witness and wrote, "I confronted him about murder and chased him to the car. He got a pistol and chased me in the mall, threatening to kill me." The officer would write, "How do you know the subject?" And P would answer, "He shot me and killed my friend." The officer then asked, "What type of gun was it?" And P answered, "A black handgun." On a second piece of paper, the officer would ask, "Did he make any comments?" And P would write, "I'm gonna kill you." The officer then wrote, "Did you fear for your life?" And P answered, "Yes." Pierre Thomas would sign both pieces of paper along with the witnessing officer who received the statement. Keon would be read his Miranda rights before saying he was at the mall when a man with a red hat approached him, repeatedly asking if he knew him and saying he knew who he was. Keon said the man's friends began to surround him when he took off running to the car. Reaching the car, he pointed his finger at the man with the hat, who was now leaving the scene. Keon denied having a firearm or pointing one at anyone. The vehicle would be impounded and no weapon would be recovered, but Keon would be charged with aggravated assault anyways and taken to jail to also face the murder warrant. 8 days later, Keon would be indicted on charges of aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony for allegedly pointing a handgun and threatening Pierre Thomas. Within the witness list, P would be the only civilian listed, and his statement would be the only evidence against Keon. Incarcerated for roughly 3 months, Keon would be indicted on 7 new charges. The state would allege that on December 8, 2009, Pierre Thomas, or P, went over to an apartment complex belonging to Karan Dennis. P had intended on playing Xbox and betting on a basketball game within the apartment that was said to be a marijuana trap house. While at the apartment, a man that evidence later identified as Keon arrived looking for the apartment owner Karan. Come back a little later. Karan would make his way back to the apartment, and not long after, Keon would arrive looking to buy marijuana. When Karan went to get it, Keon was said to have opened fire, shooting Karan multiple times before firing at P. P would run for the sliding glass door, making his way 2 apartments over, where he told the tenant he'd been shot and to call the police. Karan would die from his injuries, and investigators would determine it to be a murder-robbery. Through the course of the investigation, police interviewed P, the surviving victim. P provided them with a description stating the suspect was approximately 6 feet tall, 200 pounds with a mohawk, and a possible tattoo on his face. Time would go by since the day of the shooting, and P would occasionally relay information to the police about stuff that he had heard on the street, identifying Keon, a suspect, or who he heard might have been responsible for killing his friend. He provided some info to the police, and they were able to put a person into a photo lineup, but P did not make an identification. A few more months went by, and P provided information to the police that he had heard that the suspect goes by the name Stunner, and he'd previously been shot in a club. Looking into the nickname, police were able to identify Keon as having used that nickname and having been a shooting victim. 5 months had now passed since P had been shot, and with a new photo lineup presented, P was able to positively identify Keon, or Stunner, as the man who shot him and killed his friend. Police believed it was apparent P had seen a photograph of Stunner prior to viewing the lineup. Because of the positive identification, the warrant for murder went out, and 3 weeks after, P would confront Stunner in the mall before running for his life. Stunner would write a letter to the judge and call out P for his lies that led to his incarceration. He'd introduce himself and say, "I have been incarcerated for approximately 6 months under false pretenses." The accusee, Mr. Pierre Thomas, has made false accusations such as claiming that I shot at him and supposedly killed his friend. Fearing that I would retaliate and seek vengeance for him shooting me 4 times on April 30th of 2010, Pierre Thomas went down to the police department and took a warrant out on me. So in a surprising turn of events, Stunner was now claiming P previously shot him, or knows who shot him, and because P thought Stunner was gonna retaliate, P went to the police and snitched on Stunner. March 16th, 2012. Stunner would be re-indicted, now facing a total of 10 charges including murder, 2 felony murders, and 2 aggravated assaults. All charges would stem from the 2 incidents involving P, the initial shooting at the apartment, and the mall confrontation. 4 days later, Stunner would be ready to face sentencing. According to the guilty plea transcripts, a then 30-year-old Stunner stood in front of a judge as she explained he was charged with 10 counts, but the state had agreed to dismiss 6 of them. He'd pled guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The state would go over the 2 cases and 2 witnesses, Karan Dennis and Pierre Thomas. The judge would receive the details of the shooting, the cooperation of Pierre Thomas, and how Stunner was able to be identified solely by Pierre Thomas's voluntary cooperation by steadily supplying investigators with tips as the months progressed. Pierre would confront Stunner in a mall before running for his life and immediately sought the police as he told them of the murder warrant he helped secure against Stunner. This arrest would place new charges on Stunner where yet again, Pierre Thomas was the only witness and his statement was the main piece of evidence linking Stunner to any crime. Pierre would be notified by the prosecutors of the negotiations that had been agreed to, and Stunner would be sentenced to 20 years in state prison with 10 to serve and the remainder to be served on probation. Only a year after Stunner's sentencing, Pierre Thomas, who we all now know as P, would co-found Quality Control Music, becoming the CEO of one of Atlanta's rising music labels. With the superstar roster like the Migos, Lil Yachty, Lil Baby, and many more, P's power, wealth, and fame would also be on the rise, with only those close to the city knowing what took place before his career took off. Given credit for the 2 years spent in jail, it wouldn't be until May of 2019 when Stunner was approved for parole. Stunner's oldest child was 9 years old when he went away, and 10 years later, the two had plenty to catch up on. But unfortunately, their time together would be cut short.
Shortly after 8 o'clock this morning, officers respond to a person shot. When they arrived, they located one black male in his late 30s deceased from several gunshot wounds. They were able to locate certain items of evidence, including some shell casings. Right now we're canvassing the neighborhood, trying to find any witnesses or any video footage of what happened. We've been speaking with some neighbors who did call 911 after reporting hearing gunshots. At this time, we're still trying to determine a motive or who the suspects are, but at this time we do believe that it was a targeted shooting based on witness accounts.
Stunner was pronounced dead after being shot multiple times and what police determined was a targeted shooting. The last court document in this case would be a petition to terminate probation, with the reason being his death certificate. Stunner only lasted 7 months in the free world. And with the details of this case being publicly available for over a decade, it's hard to imagine why now in 2023, it's making its way around the internet as if nobody knew. And after this video, there will be little to no room for debate, as we all can now see P snitched on Stunner. Now this paperwork, it's clear cut in two different ways. The paperwork that hit the internet was fuzzy, looked a little funny. The paperwork I got is clear as day. This is 4K paperwork. But it's clear cut in the sense that it's publicly available, anybody can get it, and he clearly fucking told. He cooperated in the mall saying, oh, this man's over here and he got a warrant for murder. But not only that, he cooperated and helped secure the warrant for the murder. Now you could say the initial description he gave was throwed, and it was. That was the reason the murder was dropped, was because of the initial description. But at the end of the day, it also states that P stayed in contact with investigators, letting them know whatever he heard on the street. So P was tapping into the streets, hearing this, that, and the third, and then relaying that same information to the homicide investigators. Aside from a grainy picture that the surveillance cameras at the mall got of Stunner with something in his hand that might have resembled a gun, P was the only evidence of the aggravated assault at the mall and of the murder and attempted murder. It's clear cut. P from QC snitched. And I talked to somebody, they said, oh, this is about to break the internet. I don't think it will, for two reasons. For one, it seems like everybody in Atlanta already knew this, whether they're speaking out about it or not. For two, the question will be, was he in the streets? So we're just gonna have to wait and see how everything plays out. But as far as the paperwork goes, it don't look good, it never will look good, and he definitely told. But let me know y'all thoughts.
Okay, so you saw the 1090s Jake's breakdown. What do you lot think of it? Would you call him a snitch? I definitely, hands down, would call him a snitch. The thing with these snitches, yeah, if you look at the scenario and you put yourself in their shoes, would you get nicked? Would you go to jail? How come they ain't go in jail? Too much talkers, man. It's crazy. But flipping, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you lot thought, innit? Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shh. I'm out.